Right, so this is the external question 3. Hopefully you've had time to read the question and you've had a go at it and you've had a think about it. You can fill in a couple of numbers here. So we're starting, D is 2,500, which is up there. So that would mean she's starting from home. And this must be school down here. 2 minutes later, she arrives at her friend's house, which is 2,000 metres from school. 15 minutes later, she leaves the friend's house and takes 35 minutes to get to school. I'll try and draw that in straight. So 3 parts to a journey. We've used a continuous line because we've got time along the x-axis, and we're told she continues at a constant speed all the way, so we can use a straight line to represent her speed. Right, the next part asks for equations. First of all, we want the equation for any time between 2 and 15. The equation of that line, it's a horizontal line. The distance is always 2,000. Doesn't matter what value of t we choose, between 2 and 15, the distance is always 2,000. For the next part, between 15 and 35, we need the equation of that. I can see it's a negative line. The gradient would be negative. There's 2 ways we can do it. If we do it first on the calculator, we need 2 points. So we've got that point there, 15 and 2,000. And then we've got the point 35 and 0. So going over to the calculator, doing it in stat, we'll delete those. Next door, delete those. Back over here we've got 15, 35, back over here is 2,000, 0. Right, graph 1, calc. Now it's a straight line, so we choose x, and there's my answer. So if we start with the y equals mx plus c, or ax plus b is the calculator that gives. The gradient is negative 100, and c is plus 3500. Using the letters that they use, for the school up there, there's a d. D equals negative 100 times t for time plus 3500, which is absolutely fine. Just to show you how to do it by hand, for those that wanted to try it by hand, we'll do it up here. Y equals mx plus c. First of all, working out the gradient. So the gradient equals rise over run. I can see that the rise is 2,000. The run from 15 up to 35, that run is a distance of 20. 2 into 200 goes 100, and of course it's negative because it's downhill. So y would equal negative 100x plus c. Right, now we can substitute either point into the equation. So we'll take this point as friendlier. The value is 350, x and y. So if we substitute 350 and put 0 where the y value is, put 35 where the x value is, plus c, 0 equals, that would be negative 3,500 plus c. If you add 3,500 onto the other side, you can see that c is 3,500, so of course we'll get negative 100x plus 3,500, which is what we got using the calculator, and it's fine to use the calculator. Right, question B. Plot the graph of this relationship. So negative 2 comes up to 5, negative 1 is 0, 0 is negative 3, 1 is negative 4, nice smooth curve. 5 is 12, so we should probably include that since they've given it to us. and obviously negative 3 would be 12 as well. Make sure you don't stop on the points they've given you, a nice smooth curve. Give the equation that could be used for that. It's going to be a quadratic, clearly. Y equals, and we're only using x and y this time, so over to the calculator. Three points for a parabola, so you can pick any three you like. I'll just use these ones down here. So 3, 0, 5, 12. Graph 1, calc. Now it's a quadratic, and here's our answer. So we get y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. A is 1, 1x squared, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. X squared minus 2x minus 3, which is fine. I'll also work through it by hand, for those of us that want to try it by hand. You could use the vertex method or the y-intercept method. So if I begin with the vertex method, it will be an x plus 1 and an x minus 3. The intercepts and the opposite to the intercepts. There may or may not be a number in the front of that, so we would need to check. We could check by putting x equals 1. It goes through the point 1, negative 4. We could check that. 1 plus 1 times 1 minus 3, which is 2. 1 plus 1 is 2, times 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 4, which is what we wanted, so that rule is fine. And for those of you, for some revision, that may have used the vertex method, y equals x minus 1 all squared, because it's been moved across that way to the right, so we put minus 1 in the brackets, and then it's been dropped down by 4, so that rule would be correct as well. Either of those three, using the calculator is fine. Now, if the graph was moved so that its lowest point was at 3, negative 1, describe how the graph would change. So the lowest point, we want to move it to be at the point 3, negative 1, so I'm going to change colours. We want it to be here. Right, so this point has gone across 2 and up 3, so we need to do the same to all the points. If we take this point here, across 2 and up 3 gives me another point. That would be the point 1, 3. Moving this point across 2, up 3 gives me the point 5, 3. So I have 3 blue points for my new parabola. You could try and sketch it in so you understand what's happened. It's moved across 2 and up 3. We could put those 3 points into our calculator. So if we put on the first point, 1, 3, and the next point is at 5. We got the point 1, 3. We're in stat, remember. And the last point 5, 3. Graph 1, calc, it's a parabola, x squared, and there's the equation for the curve. So going back over here, we could do y equals, I'll keep it in blue. We've got 1x squared minus 6x plus 8. You could also, of course, do it using the vertex method. Y equals, in this case it would be x minus 3, because it's been moved to the right 3 places, and then it's dropped down 1. So that would be doing it by hand. Now notice the question did say an and describe how the graph would change, and give the new equation of the graph. So we can say the graph would be translated. Translated means shifted. So that's 2 units to the right and 3 units up. You might have used a vector. We can use a vector to describe a translation or a shift. The top number is across, so we want to go across 2 and up 3 if you used a vector. Writing it in words should be fine. 2 units to the right and 3 units up.